Well, I always drew and liked art when I was a kid. I can remember the games I played were art games. Like I would make up this whole school of people and design costumes for them and have things all over my wall. But when I was in high school, there were no art classes. So I didn't really have a formal art class until I went to college. And this is after I'd already been in school in Charlotte for a year, and I was studying to be an X-ray technician there. I took one art class here when I transferred to ASU and loved it and knew that that's what I wanted to do. Well, it's changed over the years. I can think of phases, like at one time I really loved Georgia O'Keeffe, and I still do, but she was the artist that I look at most. I've always liked Van Gogh a lot. I like Moreau. I like M.C. Escher. And those are the four that come to mind off the top of my head. And it seems like they kind of go with what I'm interested in terms of my own art making. Or also what I'm teaching, and I think that's the neat thing about teaching, is as I teach all these different things, it makes me get interested in many different things too. So. I have what I call signature pieces because I'll start something. I don't make art unless it means something to me, or rarely do I. Sometimes I'll just complete a drawing because I want to work on technique or I just feel like drawing. But usually I have an idea and something I want to say something about, or something I'm researching or trying to learn about. So I call my first piece in that my signature piece, or the one that sort of starts the whole series. So I have maybe 5 or 6 favorite pieces that just are the beginning of something that I can work through and finish my idea or finish my thoughts. Well, I really consider myself to be a studio teacher, a studio visual arts teacher. But I wanted to start a photography class when I was at the other school, and I wanted to have a dark room because I wanted students to have that experience, because I loved working in the dark room. And I felt like that was a big piece of the visual art program that we had that was missing. So I started that, and I don't consider myself a photographer. I think I can teach the technical parts of photography, or at least when I started, I didn't consider myself a photographer. And we've moved so much in the direction of digital imaging and working with Photoshop, because here we don't have a dark room, that I've learned so much that I'm really beginning to enjoy making art that way too. So. Well, I miss the dark room, and I hope that it will always be somewhere used somehow. I wish that we had it here, because it just explains how photography really works, and I think it just cuts it down to the simplest form of photography. I think digital photography can be almost too easy sometimes, or at least students think it can be. If you do it right, then of course it takes more skill and more thought about composition and lighting and all those things. I really love what you can do with digital photography. I love what you can do with Photoshop, and I think it's a lot bigger than just changing the values or adjusting the levels in an image. You can really create with the digital mediums as well, so it's huge. When I take photographs, I really like to take photographs of shallow depth of field things. I like to zoom in and look at something closely and maybe turn it almost into an abstract piece, but close-ups.
Okay.
And people, always people. I like to work with mixed media, so a combination of pen and ink, paint, pencil. I like very textured surfaces. So, lots of gesso, scratching into surfaces. I also love pen and ink, just by itself.